Here we look at basic and applied research. The learning outcomes include explain basic and applied research, classify research as applied, basic, or a mix, analyze similarities between types of research. Basic research is completed to gain a fuller understanding of a topic. It allows the researcher to better understand the environment around which variables interact with each other. However, no applications are envisioned for the future. Instead, people complete basic research because they're curious, wish to increase knowledge, or hope to better understand phenomena. Applied research, in contrast, may use outputs from basic research as input to studies. Applied research has a beginning and an end. Applied research is designed to solve a problem for a specific situation. Business research is one of the most common types of applied research. Completing research is important in industry and in academia. Hopefully, what you learn here will translate to writing business cases, analyzing cybersecurity breaches, recommending technology infrastructure, and so forth. When you complete research, you typically share the results with an outside community. You prepare the research in the format that is relevant for the group you are targeting. Often you'll need to communicate technical information to non-technical people. If you can understand the technology and communicate to non-technology people, you can rule the world. Research extends the body of knowledge for the communities to which you belong. For all research, you must communicate in a clear, concise manner. Avoid grammatical and writing clarity mistakes that detract from the message you're trying to deliver. Again, we see how you need the ability to communicate technical information to diverse audiences. Let's briefly discuss a few examples of business research. Strategic analysis and use of data. Think about making sense of big data for better decision making. Protection of information assets. Data is the most valuable asset of all organizations today. Use of multi-channel outlets to engage customers. While in store, Kroger tells you that you can get a deal on Freschetta pizza by downloading a digital coupon. This just happened to me a couple of days ago. So they engaged me with my mobile device while I was in the store. They also want me to use deliveries and pickup services to engage in other channels that may be convenient to me. The important thing is organizations must go where their customers are, not the other way around. How cryptocurrencies may change the market. This is still TBD, to be determined. In some industries, we may see significant impact, but in others, crypto has crashed. We will see what happens in the future. Autonomous vehicles to improve car safety. It's much safer for a computer to drive instead of you and me. We simply cannot react to new situations as fast as a computer can. Plus, the reduction in traffic jams could be significant, and I could sleep on the way to work. Back when I had a real job and had to arrive at work at 8 a.m., earlier. It's hard for me. How in the world did I do that with my extreme night owl circadian rhythm? GIS is to improve agricultural crop production. Farmers have used geographic information systems with great success to improve their yield and determine where and what to plant year to year. And finally, implementation of DEIB activities in IS. We love acronyms. Diversity, equity, and inclusion activities have become very important to organizations today, and belonging has recently been added. Engaging in DEIB activities is good for the organization and the customers it serves. So why don't we do all applied research? That's where we solve business problems. And we want to solve problems no matter what's going on. However, we should not rely on applied research only. As one of my favorite quotes go by Dr. John Smoot, people cannot foresee the future well enough to predict what's going to develop from basic research. If we only did applied research, we would still be making better spears. Emphasis added by me. So we need to allow people to explore areas that aren't strictly business problems, allow creativity and curiosity to lead people to explore new ideas. You never know what might result. For instance, let's take a look at investments in basic research made back in the mid-1990s and early 2000s. Do you recognize these two young guys, Larry Page and Sergey Brin? Page and Brin were graduate students at Stanford University who participated in a $4.5 million NSF grant to create a digital library initiative for networked information. Page uncovered a way to use millions of links simultaneously to rank web pages when searching online. From this $4.5 million NSF investment in basic research, we now have Google, worth $1.2 trillion in 2020, with 135,000 full-time employees and many contract and temporary employees, with tremendous positive impact on the U.S. economy, and even a verb. All of that return for a modest $4.5 million investment. This is why we still need to invest in basic research. We didn't know we needed Google. Now I, can't do without it. Of course, most investments won't have such a high return, but some will. Others may have more modest returns, but allow researchers to learn and build upon the conclusions they reached. Still others will have unexpected returns that were never foreseen. Let's look at an example of an unexpected return on a research project. Many years ago, a curious monk, Gregor Mendel, decided to explore the pea pods that grew around the monastery. He noticed that some were different from others, and some occurred often while other combinations were rare. From Mendel, we began to learn about biology as it relates to peas, at least. Let's take a look at a short video about Gregor Mendel. Mendel's theories and other findings along the way led to understanding of the double helix structure of DNA and the Human Genome Project. That's not what Mendel envisioned. He was simply observant and curious about peas. This is, again, why we need basic research. NASA has been a great friend to those of us who keep our feet on the ground. By learning about how things work in space, we now have artificial limbs, golf clubs, shoe insoles, etc. NASA didn't plan to create the best insole, but their research in space led to many practical applications here on Earth. Take a look at this next video for 10 everyday NASA inventions. One of the most accomplished women, or frankly men, in computing is Grace Hopper. Her curiosity led to creation of compilers, COBOL, and Fortran, among others. If you ever used assembly language, be grateful to Rear Admiral Hopper. Take a look at this video that talks a little more about Grace Hopper. So how do we determine if research is basic or applied? If practical use is a few years away, it's likely applied research. If practical use is 20 or more years away, it's likely some applied and some basic. If practical use can't be envisioned, it's probably basic. While in the past, basic research almost always preceded applied research, which then preceded practical implementation, that is not true anymore. With the ability to simulate and use artificial intelligence, we can run these sequences in parallel and greatly reduce the time required to move from basic to practical implementation. As an example, consider how quickly the COVID-19 vaccine was developed. They ran phase 1 and 2 and 3 clinical trials simultaneously. The drugs were not subject to less scrutiny, but how they used the time was different. In sum, basic research is completed for curiosity or to understand why, what, and how. It typically does not have immediate application. In contrast, applied research is completed for a specific business objective. You do it to solve a problem, and it typically has a beginning and an end. Finally, it is sometimes, maybe often, difficult to classify research as all basic or all applied.